Hi and welcome to this week's tutorial. This week I'm going to show you how to build a web scraper with Python and Selenium, what you can do with it and how this all works. So let's start. But first of all, let me tell you that web scraping is, on some websites, it's mostly not legal to do. So please make sure that you choose or do web scraping only on websites which you know that you are allowed to, mostly on your own websites. The reason for that is that you could potentially code a bot which fills out forms automatically, places order very quickly. So websites want to prevent that, and I'm going to show you in this tutorial how you can build a web scraper with Selenium and Python to test your own website. So for this tutorial, I set up my own little blog. Actually, this is a blog which exists since April, but I haven't really picked up writing stuff for that. I'm going to use this blog here to show you how web scraping is working. So what we are going to do, we will read the title of the page here. We will get the heading of the first post. We will click on that heading, and then what we are also going to do is we could take some information out of here, but most importantly we will write a comment with the web scraping program. And this is very important for if you have a larger website. For example, for the blog, you want to check if your links are working. So you still want to know if the title is shown. You want to know if this title is shown and is correctly displayed. You want to see if the link is working. So that's why we click on it. And you also want to make sure that content is shown, and that if a user wants to submit a comment, that this is also working. So we will automate that and see if we can do that very quickly. So the first thing we will need is a browser. I will choose Chrome here, and I also recommend to use Chrome for that. Here we choose just the latest version, so it's the Chrome driver 85 in my case, and I'm working on Windows. So we quickly download that, and once it's downloaded we have to move that file into a directory where we will find it. So I just put it in C, programs, program files, and I just put it right here. You can put it anywhere you want, but I also recommend to just put it into the program files because it's just a program. So after that, we need to install Selenium for Python. First, we need to check if we have pip installed. If you haven't, please do so. You can quickly check that if you just type in pip in your command tool. And if you get something like this, then you have pip installed. If you get something like this, an error message with pip, please make sure to install pip first. I will post a link into the description where it's explained how you can install that. What we are going to do is we simply type pip install Selenium. Important is that if you are on a Mac, you probably don't need to type pip, but pip free, as I just did on Windows, and then you should get the same output as with pip. So after we have done that, we need to set up a project for the Python, which I already have done, and then we import Selenium into the project. And if we get the package, we know that the installation went fine and that we installed Selenium. If you don't get the package and you get an error message here, then please search for a solution there. Probably you just misspelled something during the installation. But what we actually need to import is not the whole Selenium, but we need from Selenium, we need to import the WebDriver. And we are going to use the WebDriver, or basically the WebDriver is the library to scrape a website, but we will come to that soon. So after we have imported the WebDriver, now we need to tell Python where the driver is actually located. So for that, we just go back to our Chrome driver and copy the path here. You can do that simply by either copying the path file here, or you just go to properties and you copy it from the location file here. And we need a backslash and say Chrome driver.exe. Once we have the driver path, we now need to create the driver itself. For that, we just have a new variable called, I call it simply driver. And now we are using the WebDriver, and here we can select the different browsers which Selenium offers. Please make sure you're not using the lowercase browser, but the camel case browser. So in this case, we have a Chrome driver access, so we need the Chrome driver here. And then we need the executable path, and we set this to our driver path. Driver path. All right, and now we are actually ready to start and can actually test if our code is working so far. So we could actually get in here, and we call the get function, and here as a parameter or argument, we just give in the URL for the website we want to call. So in our case, it's the blog from myself. And if we have done that, we could just simply check if it's working. So let's check it. We open a new terminal and we type py scraper.py and we get an error. Oh, I misspelled the driver here. Oop. So we call it again, and now what should happen exactly? We open a browser tab here and we get the URL for our blog. So that's already working. Okay, since it's working to open a browser tab, you can also close the driver again, or the browser. You could either just type close. This will not close the entire browser, but the current tab of that browser. And if you want to close the operation completely, you just type in quit. So if we save that now and execute it, then our browser will open the URL and it quits again. So that's working as well. So this will be our last statement, so to say. So now what we also could get, or first thing we want to get, is the title of the current URL or the current website. So for that, we just simply type in driver.title to get the title of the current site. And we want to display the title in our console. So we type in print so that we print the title to our console. So we save that and execute our program one more time. Now the browser opens, and here we can see we have the title of the website. So that's the first thing we wanted to do, but that doesn't really look good. So to write a test, you want to test if your title is here, because right now, if the driver couldn't get the title, the print statement would be just empty. But in this case, you want to execute something else, maybe an error message or something. So we just wrap that into an if statement. And once we have that in an if statement, now we could actually check if the website title is actually, available or not, and if it's not, then please give out an error message. We could actually do this even better if we just store the website title in a variable, so that we don't have to call the driver title all the time and that the code is actually more readable. So the next thing we want to get is the title of this post here. And then we also wanted to click on the post. So how could we achieve that? Web scraping works always through the DOM, or not always, but mostly. And in here you have different ways to select your element you want to read or perform actions with it. In this case, we want to get this link with the text, what are automations and when are they useful. And we have different things to select this here. So we could either do a normal CSS selector to choose this element. So we could just get the entry title, the h2 with an entry title and the link below that, which wouldn't be that good because as soon as there's a second post, this selector would pop up multiple times. So what else could we select here? We could also take the XPath, which you can find if you right click on the element in at least Chrome, go to copy. We just go with the XPath for now. And then we going back to our Python program. In here we call again the driver. And now we actually get already the find element by XPath function. And in here we just paste in the copied XPath, and in here we can access the text, for example, of the element which we actually want. So we want to know what's the text of that link, and we also want to perform actions with it later, so we want to click that link. So for now, let's just see if that is working here. So we print that again, just to the console for now. And we execute our code again. Yeah, that was quick, but we actually now have the title of the website and here is the text of the link. So that's fine. So I would say let's wrap that again into an if statement. Alright, so after we wrap that again into an if statement, I also put that into a variable because we want to access one time, we want to access the text and then we want to actually click on that element. Since we are trying to rebuild a user behavior, we could also assume that if the user can't see any text here, so if there's no text element on this first post, then we are not able to click that element because the user can't see something which is not there. So our click could happen actually in this if statement as well. So what we are going to do, we are now sure that this element exists, this link here, and we make sure that this is only the only element you can click on. So now we want to perform this click here and then get some content from that page to see if it's displayed. For that, we could actually get the whole container, the entry content here, and see if there's text in here. And if it is, then we are sure that there's some content available. Alright, so what also is left, we want to select this text field here. We want to type something in. We need to enter a name and an email address here, and then we want to post our comment and see if it appears. But let's start with the simple thing. We want to click on that heading. So we go back to our program, and as said, we can do this in here. So what we are going to do is insert this after we know that there's some text for the user to click on. So what we grab again the first post, and then we take the click function of the driver and we get rid of the quit statement quickly so that we know that the program or that the website is actually changing and that we can see that. So let's see if it actually is happening. And there we go. So we are on the post now. So let's quickly check if we have some text in here, and then let's see if we have if we can submit a comment here. So again, for the text, we do basically the same as we did for the link. We go into the element we want to select. We could, for example, select this excerpt. I will do that and copy the XPath. Go back to Python. And in here, after we clicked the element, we want to create first a new variable, which is called, let's call it excerpt. And find element by XPath. We paste that in here. And then we check again if this is available. And there we go. Let's check if we are successful. So our browser open again, we load the page, we get this element, we click on it, and we should get the excerpt, and there it is. If you hear the word automations, blah, blah, blah. Nice. So now we are sure that the first post is available, that the element or the text is shown of the link for that post. We click on that post, so we are sure that this is actually redirecting by checking if there's an excerpt on the page. And now we are trying to post a comment for the blog post. So for that, we simply select this text area. Again, we copy the XPath. We go back. We only have to do that if the post is actually existing. If it doesn't exist or if there's no content on it, we don't need to check if the comment is working. So we again do this within the if statement. And I'm doing this now currently all in one go, but which is fine, I guess, for the small test here. But if you really write tests for your website, you will have a lot more code and things to test. So I would recommend to split that up into different functions. But for the tutorial here, I guess it's fine. So in here, we check if the comment is here. And to do that, we need to click the comment so that we could insert something into the text area. So first of all, I guess we should select all the fields and write them into variables, and then we could post something to them. So the first field we need is the actual comment field. And now let's insert something to the actual field. To do that, there's another function for the WebDriver. We are select the comment text field. The function is send keys. And let's see if we can input text there without clicking in it, like the user have to. And let's see if this is just working out of the box like that. So the browser opens, we click on the post, and yeah, there it is, text comment. Okay, so we can repeat that with the other fields. Then we need to select the post a comment field here, and we need to click that. So now we should fill in the comment, we should fill in the name and the email, and then we should click on that. Comment submit button. It's the driver find element by XPath. Comment submit button. Click. Alright, again, we load the website. We click the post. We go in here, and now we should send this one. We don't. What's wrong? Element click intercepted element input field is not clickable at point. Atom element would receive the click. Oh, we selected the wrong one. What did we select it? Okay, apparently I know what the problem is. It's kind of obvious. So if we are in this state here, we don't scroll. So we are trying to click an element which is not visible. And that's why the learn more would be clicked on. So if we repeat that script here, then the browser window is opened correctly. It's clicked here, and now here's the submit button for posting the post. But actually the learn more from the cookie overlay is here in the way, so we can't click it. That's why the learn more element would receive that click, and Selenium is failing. So two things what we could do. We could either just click allow cookies, refuse cookies, so that this banner will disappear, or we just scroll. And since scrolling is another action I could show you, I will do the scroll now. So what we need to do to scroll to a certain element. So the scrolling is happening automatically until to this point here, somewhere there. And what we could do is we could tell the driver to execute a script. And so it's basically JavaScript, which is then executed. How we could do that is pretty simple. So before that click, we need to tell the driver to execute a script. So we need to scroll to the bottom of the document. So that should be still reachable. So if I'm on the bottom, and here shouldn't be that much that this button is hidden, and we could make sure that the cookie policy or the cookie banner is actually out of the way here. So we get the document body.scroll height here. So let's see if this is actually working now. So the browser opens. What I forgot to mention is actually that the Chrome is also showing you that it's controlled by an automated software here. So you can actually see that this is from Selenium. And now it actually worked. So we scroll to the bottom of the body. And now we have our comment posted some content here. Yeah, a moderator would now to accept the content, but actually it's working. So yeah, this is how Selenium and web scraping with Python is working. So it's a little bit chaotic in here, but I guess you got the idea of how you could test or write some tests for your website. If you are interested in more stuff like that, or if you want to have an extended version, what you could do with Selenium here, please let me know down in the comments. If you have any smaller improvements for that script, let me know. Otherwise, I hope you like this tutorial. So I hope you like this quick tutorial about how to install Selenium and Python and how web scraping is actually working. Like the video and don't forget to subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss any videos like that. As always, I will post the link to the GitHub repository where you will find the code for that tutorial. And as said already in the beginning, please make sure that you check if the web scraping you are doing there with Selenium and Python is actually legal on the website you want to perform it. And with that, see you in the next one.